Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to another episode of Not the Droids podcast. I'm Mayuri,
And I am Danny.
and today we will be discussing episode 5, I think it is, of The Acolyte titled Night. Oh, so ominous. When did it come out?
And the last one was Day. June 25th, 2024.
The trauma level of this episode was high. I feel like from start to finish, my
Mhm.
hackles were raised the whole time.
Before we got to that, OSHA checking on Pip.
Oh my God, it was so
Making sure
cute.
Pip was okay. And you don't even realize there's this like epic saber battle happening in the
And
background. I was
she's
just
just
like,
like, Pip,
Pip, are you
Pip.
okay? I'm sorry. Like, we just serviced you, but I've already destroyed you.
I know. Well, so I honestly, in the beginning shots, it's like when there's a fire and there's embers falling. And I was like, what is that red dust? Because then she goes to the
Well, because
main
then you're also
area.
looking for the, I don't know if it's just me, you're looking for the bodies because you saw all the
Well,
Jedi.
yeah. Well, so I mean, she does find one body.
Oh, yeah.
And
But you were
then
expecting more than one person.
yeah, and so I was like, what's happening? And I kind of gave it away because I had the subtitles on, and in the subtitles, it does indeed say
The lightsabers whooshing.
yes, and like distant lightsabers whooshing. So, but I it was really curious because like when she went to the spot in front of Kalnaka's abode where the stranger, the master, like flicked them all away, it was all this like red dust. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen it that way before. And I didn't know if that was just like underneath the ground of that planet
There,
or
there is a scene in one of the Rey movies. I'm not going to specify specifically so you forget about it by the time we watch it. And this effect shows up, and it is gorgeous on camera. It was one of my favorite things in that movie, where like the ground is one color, and then when it is disturbed, it like, and like
yeah.
in the movie, it's white and red.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And
So it's just the planet, you think?
I think it's just this current planet, yes.
Okay.
That's kind of how it shows, but I think it is an amazing effect on camera, and it does so
Yeah.
much with just like, here's some sand. You hate sand.
No, okay, so that makes sense. But like when she does finally come across the lightsaber battle, it is again epic
It
with
is. I put epic saber battle.
it. Well, that's what it was. And I was just like so scared for all of them. And
Mm-hmm.
the master's ability is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And then I was just like, oh no, not the double skewer where he like thrusts the lightsaber in someone and then force pulls
Oh,
someone
that one's
else
always rough. What?
onto it. I
And
was like,
then
oh,
and then Osha like blasts him, and he just kind of looks
nothing,
like,
nothing. I
did
keep
you
accidentally
blow at
raising.
me?
Yeah, I don't.
I love that
I
you keep raising your
I
hand.
know it's my fault. I keep it's I'm too expressive with my hands, and Zoom doesn't like it. But no, and then I just like as much as I hate on Yord, I was so worried for him because I was like, no, Yord.
Yord had some good moments in this
He
episode.
had some great moments, but he got injured, and I was just like, Osha, why are you so dumb when she tried to shoot him with her like pulse beam? And I
Yes.
was like, what are you doing? He just killed many Jedi in
Many.
front of you. Why did you think that would work?
Maybe she thought it didn't have any effect. So I think she was expecting at least something, like knock him off his
Yeah.
feet, let the Jedi like
I
regain
mean it
footing.
did stop him from killing Yord in that moment. So, but then they just like flash to May, who's literally still inside just watching. And
Just
I was like,
watching.
what are you doing, girl? Like,
Trying to figure out whose side she's on. She don't know what to do because her plans are ruined because he's here. He's not supposed to be here.
I mean, he knows, he knows.
He knows. So here's a bigger problem. If she's dead on that side, and on the other side, Jedi are ready to kill her. Like there's
Yeah.
you don't know where to go.
But yeah,
And
so
then
I
she
I
finds
was just like,
Kamaka Saber.
do you think she was just like hiding to try and figure out if the Jedi would actually win? There's
No,
so
I
many of
think she was
them.
trying to figure out what her next move was going to be.
Yeah,
And it's better to do that not in the middle of a lightsaber battle if
that's
she
true.
already knows that the master wants her dead because she has failed him.
Yeah. And then the whole time I was just like, I see Yord, I see all these extra nameless Jedi. Where is Jackie and where is Saul? I was like, where is Saul? And then I mean he does show up in like the literal coolest way. The coolest way. Um And that's where I was just like, this episode is giving me too much. Too many people are dying.
Do
This,
you now understand why I said do not binge this show?
no, yes, yes. I was already anxious yesterday. If I had rolled right into this, like, it's overwhelming. Everything that happened here, and just like trying to like enjoy the nuance of like the fight choreography, the like skill level, like even in
Mhm.
universe, the skill level of the master, right? And yeah, so I don't know, when Saul kept saying like civilian to the ship, I was like, oh no, OSHA. Saul still just cares about OSHA, but don't leave him
They
alone.
were. Also, this conversation between the stranger and the master, whatever we're deciding to call him, we reveal that he is Manny, so Manny.
I mean, his name, I don't know if it's actually Chimere, but
No,
I
it's
will
definitely
say
not. It is definitely not
the
Chimera.
Saul and Jackie situation, right? Well, because like Jackie holds her own
Very
against the
well.
master. And I actually was watching, and I'm like, the moment, because she had taken Palnaka's saber, the moment she did the double saber, I actually thought of you because I was like, oh, LOL, like, but that was so sick. And you could see the moment where he was like, oh no, when she had two sabers. And I was like, oh, that was the first time I feel like he really stuttered because he
Mhm.
didn't expect her to be as proficient with
As
both.
she is as a Padawan.
Yeah, as a Padawan. And I do love the dig that he makes against May, where he was like, you could learn something
Yeah.
from this battle.
But let's talk about when Manny and Saul meet and Saul knows him but doesn't remember him but states he feels familiar and
Yeah, so is he
Manny
a
is like, you don't remember? You
that's
should
where
know.
so like in the helmet he's like you feel familiar but I don't know why, right? And so
I'm
he's just
wondering if he was a youngling at some point.
he had to have been, right? Like
I
he
feel like
knows
as a
enough the
Padawan, he
Jedi
would
to
still
hate
be
them.
recognizable. So I feel like he would have been like a youngling or someone that like they went to sought out and then did not take as
Like a test, like force tested, maybe he was too old or
maybe.
something. But that's where I was just like, I'm really interested to see what their history is
Yes,
because clearly he has a bone to pick with Saul.
I have
Um,
with Saul.
I mean, Saul finally got outed, right? Um, for doing something. We don't know what. We have a theory, right? Like the witches. There was something sus with the witches back on Brendock. But yeah, I don't know. It was funny because I was like watching this and I was just like, do the Jedi not have a concept of the Sith in this timeline? Because they keep like saying like, what are you? Who are you? Where did you train?
It feels like, based on how it was said, because he said, Jedi like you would call me Sith.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is not as widely used as a term. And it's maybe something that when they encounter such people that are referred to as Sith, they try to out them, get rid of them, like our stranger says, because he's like, well, now you all know I'm here and we can't have that because, Jedi rules can't have me.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like when before Sith are more well known in the
Yeah,
universe.
like they're just starting to become known Because I also wonder if the reason why they're not as well known is because they've always killed anybody who discovered who they
And
were.
I'm
Right?
curious if
Because
that's it.
I do love the moment where he was just like, I did wear a mask. Like I was wearing a mask, but
Mhm.
Jackie is the one who finally got it off his head
Yeah.
at the cost of, her life.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was,
there's this whole
I thought she
moment
was going to
where
make it through. I thought her and Yord were honestly going to make it through. And I was gagged when
we didn't
Jackie
get either
died.
of them.
And then when Yord died, I was like,
And that one was a bit aggressive.
that
It's
was
different
not
when
a
you just see the
lightsaber
saber.
death. That was a like real
Yeah,
just
that was.
uh
But
and
there's
it
like also
wasn't
like
even
that those
ooh,
moments like with the mask where Saul's like, "What kind of master hides their face from this pupil?" And he's like, "You
yeah.
pot kettle." Like,
No. Well, so I also want to point out that his like sassiness did not go away.
he did not feel as goofy,
Yeah, because I
like
think he was still trying to
blundering.
hide. Yeah,
Yeah, he was not as blundering, but you're like, he knows. And the
he
fact
was
that he's like
sass.
egging May on, like, you really didn't figure it out.
I know that was funny. Like out of all that, like you couldn't tell that I was the
Even deep
master.
down,
Um,
like, I'm not good of it. I'm not that good of an actor, man.
was it? There was a point, and honestly, he was like stone cold at certain points when he was
Yeah.
making comments. He was talking to Saul about something, and they were talking about OSHA. And Chimere Manny's character was literally looked Saul in the face and was like, oh, he's just like he was talking about Jackie, about how like Jackie's just a child
Yeah, she's just a
and
kid.
and he just looked him dead in the face and was like, you brought her here.
Yeah, like that you can't blame me. Like,
Like, why are you blaming
fight
me?
me.
I'm protecting myself. You brought her here.
Hmm.
And I was like, that was cold.
But it's true.
I mean, it's so true, but I mean, I will say, like, Jackie was so capable, she would have been amazing Jedi.
Yes. So before we
Um,
get to Yord, um, he is explaining to Osha how the master gets into his head and that like he's trying to explain like who this guy
he
is and he's like
stays
he has
there.
no method of movement, he gets in your head and Osha says my mother used to be able to get into Jedi's head.
I saw
Heads.
her do it once. No, that was interesting because
Curious.
I also clocked something earlier when the master was talking to Saul. He said something about you can't get into my head, and I wonder if that's why the Sith are always wearing helmets or something. Because like
Maybe it's like mental Beskar.
because he specifically
Or
said something about
or
it.
or because we know Osha's mom had this ability that he was taught to block it.
Maybe.
Because later on his helmet is off, so that really doesn't like
Yeah, no, I don't
that
know,
doesn't
but
stick with it. We're like, well, now he can. Like, so I'm wondering because his training is obviously very advanced. There's no method to his movements, as you would say. So it's not like the Jedi training. So he's trained by someone else. So maybe he was also trained
by the witches.
and did not fail like Harry Potter did to keep other people out of his head.
I don't know. It's very interesting, like the connection that Osha makes to
I
her
go back and
mother.
forth on the witch theory, but because there's no males in the witches.
Yeah, there it's
But we
it's
also
a
don't
female
know
coven.
where OSHA and May came from and that they were created. And it's this whole thing.
It's very confusing. But this is where Osha has her little moment. She had an idea with the Umbra Moths, which was a good idea. And I loved the moment where she's just like, I love you, Pip. And she like puts Pip, she like
I think I
sacrifices
strive
Pip.
more for droids than I do for humans.
She like sacrifices Pip for the greater good. And I was watching it and I was like, I mean, they didn't show him dying. Does he die? And we find out later. He does
It's
not
only
indeed.
episode 5. You really think he died?
I was just like, maybe, maybe.
We're on
Uh,
episode 5 of 8. We don't
I
know
will
what's
say
happening.
it was really cute that like Basil picked up Pip's head later.
Basil.
I know. Basil, who's still just sniffing around trying to get back.
He's still on his tour of guiding.
Yeah, he's he's still there. But no, so the whole like OSHA May situation was very strange to me because like May knows something, but she's not just like stating it plainly.
May knows how she got out
Yes,
and what actually happened in the temple.
to the
That's what May knows.
witches. Yeah.
But I don't necessarily believe that Osha's the one that's brainwashed.
I don't think OSHA's the one that's
I think
brainwashed.
I think May does not know the full story either. I think they each know their own stories.
And they're just assuming where OSHA's assuming the Jedi helped her, May is assuming the Jedi are the ones
I mean,
that killed the coven. Well, because like May knows that she's not the one, and
yeah.
we know that they did not die in the fire. It was very clear that they did not die in the fire. And if
Now there's like this question of like Saul trying, sorry, this just popped in my head. Saul's like trying to get into the master's head. What if he went into like May's head to set the fire and it wasn't actually May the whole entire time?
I don't think that Saul would do that. I
He was
think that
ready to
May is a
kidnap her children.
psycho. I
He
think that May is an actual
I
psychopath.
think she's a bit psycho-ish, but also I do believe that Saul would do anything for what he think is right, and he thinks they should have been trained as Jedi.
Yeah. So
And
that's where,
not
I mean,
support
he's the
these
last
witches that he
person.
like
He's
because
the
like
last
Meg kept
person.
saying, remember who you are and who like you were raised to be. A
I don't
witch.
know. I'm just like, I need to know what happened. And then the absolute lunacy of May leaving OSHA in the forest and just assuming her identity. I knew when she picked up the lightsaber, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. She's gonna cut her hair and she's gonna pretend to be OSHA. And I hope Saul doesn't fall for it, but he did. In the moment, I Basil definitely is not falling for it.
Which is like wild because like Saul, like you have been with this child since she was
You don't like sense that it's something is not the
like
same.
you can't tell. Really, Saul?
But yeah.
Really? Our
But
Sith
I
over
I think
here,
Basil
our
is
Sith
gonna
know in
know.
a second. He's like, no, not
Pip's
her.
gonna know. Pip is gonna
Pip's gonna know, but like our Sith guy is just like, yeah, there's no way this is her. I know this is
know. No,
Osha, and
he
that's what I
already
wanted.
knows that it's not
I wanted
May.
Osha anyway. Like that's how he
I
feels.
think he wanted
I think
OSHA.
he did too. I think there's something about it. I think he wanted both, but he
Yeah, but
like that's what we know. He straight up told us, I need an acolyte.
well, so in every moment that he could have killed OSHA, he did not.
No. He had her multiple times. He wants Osha. I think he senses that Osha is more powerful than May.
Yeah. She's just untrained and disconnected.
But she's connecting again now that she knows her sister is
Yeah.
alive and kicking.
So that's where I'm just like at the end where he's just like so caring for her. I'm just like, oh my God, my inner dark romance girly is just like, oh, how cute. And then I was like, not cute. He just killed all those.
Yeah, not
He was
cute.
so careful with her. And he was, reciting poetry to her unconscious body. So it
That's a little
was
creepy.
weird.
I'm just
It
saying,
was weird.
a little creepy.
Listen, dark romance is very creepy on its base level.
Yeah.
But no, I will say like the tenderness and care that he had towards Osha in that moment was very strange. So I'm assuming my thing is just like he's gonna take Osha and he's gonna try and just
Same.
possibly because she became a Jedi, but I think he knows what happened.
You think he knows May's side?
I think he knows May's side, possibly, because he can get into people's heads, right? He must have
Or
found
maybe
out.
he just told him, like,
Oh, that's true. And I wonder if he's going to use that to like tempt Osha away from the Jedi
yeah.
to like kind of because May hates the Jedi
Well,
and Saul.
he wants to create an acolyte, so he's going to try to tempt her away from the Jedi, and she's already away from the Jedi in a way because she's not a
Yeah.
Jedi. So he's already halfway there. He just has
Yeah.
to move her to the other side of it.
So I'm less anxious than I was at the end of last episode. I'm very sad because Jackie is dead. I mean, Yord is dead. That's
He
also
did so
sad.
well battling.
But Jackie had so much potential.
He did.
And you could tell that the master respected her,
Yes.
right? And that's where it's
Those
just like,
lightsaber moves.
oh
I
my
was good.
God.
Go on, little Wolverine.
I know she was so good. Again, the choreography in this
Oh,
show
some of the
is
best in all
so
of Star Wars.
unmatched from anything I have
Is
seen.
why I'm like so annoyed that this has show has been canceled. Um, we will hopefully have a guest. I think we'll have a guest on for a wrap up to discuss part of that too.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm very curious to see where the show ends and how they can just like not do another season.
And not give us more. I'm
Yeah.
Sign the petitions, people. We want it back. We want it back.
Also, justice for Manny. He's so good in this.
He is so good.
And I did call it from his arms that it
Yes,
was
you did.
definitely
You did.
Manny.
I was trying to behave so you wouldn't catch
Also,
on.
I was like, well, because like I thought I had seen stuff that it was Manny at the like back when it first came out. And then I was watching it, I was like, but maybe it's not.
I
Like
just
it
like watching
seems
your journey. You're like, I thought it was him, but then I'm like, no, it's not him. But now I'm like, is it him? I love your back and forth.
oh,
Yeah, this is just a reminder. This is Mary's first time watching. This is
yes.
my second time watching where I was not binging it
Yeah. Do you like not binging it this time?
so much. It's too much information when you binge it. I get so overwhelmed and I lose so much.
Details, yeah.
So,
So we'll have to wait. So until next time, we're not the droids you're looking for.
we're the droids you're gonna get.